The work had a profound effect on shaping later writers' views on the Earl and his reputation. Walter Scott's famous 1821 novel, Kenilworth, paints him as an ambitious individual who is desperate to win the Queen's favour, to such an extent that his steward arranges the murder of Leicester's first wife, Amy Robsart. In turn, Leicester's Commonwealth was also derogatory about Lettice, and it is this that has contributed to her image as both an overtly sexual seductress and, more shockingly, a murderess. Most of the claims made by the authors of the Commonwealth can be discredited, but this did not stop others from jumping to similar conclusions. The chronicler William Camden, for example, drew much of the material for his History of the Most Renowned and Victorious Princess Elizabeth, better known as the Annals, from Leicester's Commonwealth, and he too presented a negative view of Lettice, one that has had great influence and endurance through the centuries. It was at the suggestion of the Queen's adviser, Lord Burleigh, in 1597, that Camden began to think of compiling a history of Elizabeth's reign, but he did not start writing it until 1607, 4 years after the Queen's death. Though he gleaned some of the information from his narrative from people who were close to the Queen and her courtiers, Camden's work was intended to highlight Elizabeth's achievements. It was consequently highly critical of anything and anyone at odds with this. The trend of casting Lettice in a bad light has largely continued to the present day. Robert Lacey, the biographer of Lettice's son, the Earl of Essex, related that she was wilful and impetuous. She insisted always on having her own way, dominating her son Robert in his youth and then dogging his footsteps at court. This image has also been highlighted in popular culture. In the 1971 Elizabeth R. television series, in which Angela Thorne adopted the role of Lettice, she is portrayed as a highly spirited woman who, following her fall from grace, was eager to antagonize Elizabeth I, played by Glenda Jackson. She is outspoken, haughty, arrogant, and unrepentant. Although at various points in her life Lettice did display some of these traits, it is by no means the whole story. What makes Lettice all the more remarkable is her longevity. Her life spanned the reigns of 7 monarchs, including Lady Jane Grey, and 2 dynasties. She was born during the kingship of Henry VIII, and witnessed the Tudor monarchy in all its glory, before its ultimate demise following the death of Elizabeth I in 1603. In its place, the Scottish Stuart dynasty established itself firmly on the English throne, uniting the kingdoms of England and Scotland for the first time. Lettice lived through all of this and more, for hers was a period during which the country underwent significant change, ravaged by war, political upheaval, and religious turmoil. Many of these changes and the events they brought with them impacted upon Lettice and her family, who also faced their own challenges. Although Lettice herself was not always actively involved in, or a witness to, all of the tumultuous happenings, those closest to her often were. Husbands, children, kin. Lettice's family were always at the very centre of events, watching and participating as the plots, politics and wars of the era unfolded. As such, Lettice experienced the theatre of her day in a very different way. Her life offers us an extraordinary personal lens through which to view the turbulent world of the 16th and 17th centuries. Her story is not just one of melodrama, but rather a tapestry of episodes and intrigue that wove its way through the centuries and the lives of her family. Ultimately, it was only Lettice who survived them all. A friend suggested the subject of this book to me, but I did accidentally stumble across it some time before. In September 2015, I was visiting the magnificent